Hey, what's going on guys, Jock here and welcome to our week 1 battle of the new APA Showdown season, and really happy to bring you this. We're finally back with a Showdown season. This video is a little bit late because of just delays with my week 2 battle. I didn't want to upload this and have a massive delay, and I never done a draft analysis because I felt like if you were watching you would know what Pokemon done. But you can see the draft we've got as an Uber because we're allowing Ubers again this season. Done this the season before I joined, so I've never actually used an Uber, but I'm sure it shouldn't be too hard. And the team I drafted is, you can see the 6 on the screen that are Groudon, Licky, Mega Houndoom, Tapu Koko, Heracross, Goodra, and the 5 that I didn't bring is Steelix, Mantine, Lanoon, Victory Belt and Necrozma. So that's our team of 11. You can see Tom's team is Hitmontop, Mega Gyarados, Giratina, Uxie, Tapu Bulu, Thundurus T, and he has, I don't know his entire, I can't remember his entire team, but he has mons like Volcarona, Rampardos, Regice, and I can't remember the other 2, but he's got a really bulky team with some really scary setup sweepers, so that's what I had to take into account when building for this. So the team I've come up with is a very speedy Groudon, then mixed with between bulky and offensive. It's about 164 EVs and HP and the rest in attack, and it's just here to sort of soft take on Gyarados when the sun's up, because I think it lives 2+1 Ice Fangs and it can Thunder Wave it and whatnot. It's Rock and Thunder Wave, Rock Slide, Precipice Blades and Stealth Rock. It takes on a really good chunk of his team. We then have our Licky, which is just a Spadef Licky to take on like the Giratina, Thundurus and whatnot. It's just a Wish Protect set to keep the 2 more important defensive Pokemon of like Goodra and Groudon alive. Just knock off and Toxic as well because it wasn't doing damage to this team anyway. Then I have my Mega Houndoom, which destroys his team. He's got no resist to the Fire Dark combo apart from Mega Gyarados after Mega Evolution, which I don't think he'll want to get weakened because it's his only win con really. Then I have, it has Toxic, Nasty Plot, Fire Blast and Dark Toss. I just threw Toxic on because literally I did not need any other coverage. Next up we have our Specs Tapu Koko with Volt Switch, Dazzling Gleam, Thunderbolt and Nature's Madness, mainly because there wasn't coverage moves that done over 50% to his walls because his walls are so fat. So it was better just to have Nature's Madness to get that original 50% off, and then chip it down with rocks and whatnot. And then like you can look at his team, like it doesn't take on Tapu Koko well. Tapu Koko basically destroys Hitmontop, destroys Gyarados, destroys Giratina, destroys Uxie, destroys Bulu, it just destroys his whole team, so it's probably our win con this game. Then we have a Choice Scarf Heracross just to outspeed Gyarados at +1 and kill it with a close combat. It'll also basically outspeed his entire team apart from if he scarfs the Thundurus, because I think, yeah, Heracross is faster than Tapu Bulu as well. So next up we have a Assault Vest Goodra, near max speed, about 216 with the Timid, so that I could outspeed a Tapu Bulu and Sludge Wave it. It has the Sap Sipper, and as you can see I didn't bring it has Rock Slide as well for Volcarona because it's our best counters of Volcarona, Ice Beam and Draco Meteor. As you can see I didn't bring like a physically defensive wall whatsoever because the only thing that really took on Gyarados was Mantine, and Mantine is a complete setup for her unless we get the Skull Burn, and if he's sub then it's GG. I just didn't draft a Tapu Bulu switch in because like my physically defensive Pokemon are like Groudon, which gets like O-Code, Steelix, which I think gets easily 2-hit KO'd, Mantine, which gets easily 2-hit KO'd, so there was no point in trying to bring a switch into them, and it was easier just to play around them smartly. So we're playing Tom. He's a really good friend of ours. This was actually his first ever league battle, so we'll get into this. And he leads off with his Uxie, as I lead off with my Koko, as I said, because he's got no way of stopping Koko, and I just Volt Switch out expecting him to get his rocks up, and we go into our Licky. This was a bit of an odd play for me because, I don't know, I felt I was playing very passive. I should have kept the offensive up and gone into Houndoom or whatnot here, so I can actually knock off his Hitmontop's Assault Vest, which actually makes it a lot easier for Houndoom, so I just protect to see what he wants to do, and he planned on close combating. So I take this as a free switch into my Groudon, as he doubles into his Gyarados. I think he said he misclicked wanting to go into Giratina, I'm not sure, but there's no way he wants to stay in, so I just fire off a Thunder Wave on his incoming Giratina, and that's really helpful. And I just throw up my Stealth Rocks as he shows that he's actually an offensive max special attack modest Giratina, which is quite dangerous for me because I don't have, like, well, you should see it done a massive amount to my Gyarados, but it does nothing to our Licky. So here I can just throw up a Wish, but it kind of really negates the whole early game for me, because he's just going to get to spin my rocks away as I go back into my Groudon. And although I get my Groudon back to full, I've already lost my rocks, which isn't great. So here I just fire off the Precipice Blades, and it does, well, we crit the Giratina, which basically means it can't take another one, so it's a bit unfortunate for Tom. And he makes a smart switch into Uxie. I wasn't going to protect that because I just wanted to get rid of the Giratina because it is a bit of a threat. So I Thunder Wave Uxie just because I didn't want to switch anything into it, because I didn't want to give him the momentum. He goes into his Tapu Bulu, so I have a semi-switch in my Goodra, but if he goes for anything other than a grass move, then it's possibly GG. So we take that, and he switches out to Uxie as I Sludge Wave. That's nothing. There must be a Spadef Uxie, I can't remember, but there's absolutely nothing. So I just stay in here and I crit him with the next Sludge Wave. It barely does anything as he heals, because again I don't want to switch anything into this Uxie, because I feel like he's just going to U-turn and I don't want to give him the momentum. So I had Draco here knowing that he's going to U-turn out, and I just want to get as much damage on it as possible. He crits me with a U-turn, but it's not a big deal. And he brings back in his Giratina. So I get my free switch back into Licky because this Giratina can't do anything to me. I see Dragon Claws and does 19%. So I'm going to throw up a Wish here and keep it for myself, because I need to keep my Licky healthy, because my Goodra's getting a little bit weak as well. So we just protect here on his Fake Out, which I'm not sure why he's rocking Fake Out, to be honest, but I think it's just in case he was about to get swept by a Hound and we could Fake Out Mach Punch. So he goes Tapu Bulu as I switch into my Coco, expecting, like, he knew I would want to go into my Groudon and he would try and capitalise on it, and I Volt Switch out and I crit him, which isn't great, and I go into my Groudon. I expected Nature's Madness and I actually end up dodging it, which isn't good. So again I stay in with my rocks, not expecting him to Wood Hammer as his superpowers, and here I know I can kill with the Precipice Blade, so I don't worry about the Wood Hammer, but I end up missing the Precipice Blade as he hits the Wood Hammer and puts me down to 3%. So that miss was quite big because I end up having to basically sack my Groudon off. Luckily enough we picked the Tapu Bulu off here, and so that's not good. We basically had to sack our Groudon off here to this, so I just Fake Out does leftovers damage, but I just use this as a chance to just get some damage off on this, and you can see a -1 Precipice Blade from not even a max attack Groudon, so that's 50%. So this Hitmontop's basically dead. So I go out to Coco just to make sure he can't spin my rocks. I want to try and I've lost my rocks there, so I want to try and keep my rocks up as much as possible. And he just sacks off his Uxie to the Dazzling Gleam as he switches in his Thunderous D, which basically screams this is Scarf with Sludge Wave. So I hard switch into my Goodra, and as you see he does have the Sludge Wave, but it does absolutely negligible damage. And this gives me the chance to Ice Beam, and it does nothing. It gets the 60, but we do get the freeze, but it doesn't matter because my Goodra was faster, so I would have just been able to pick it off afterwards. But I use this as a chance to go into my Licky and throw up a Wish. So I guess you could say the freeze mattered because it lets me throw up a actually knockoff. So I should have thrown up a Wish. That was a bit of a misplay on my end. I don't know why I done that. So I go into my Heracross here because it was basically, I knew it was going to close combat and it was who do I want to get the kill, Heracross or Tapu Koko, so I decided to give it to Heracross just because I like Heracross. And he then goes into his Thunderous D, and it turns out, well, I know he's Scarf, so I go into my Licky because I wasn't sure if maybe he would HP Ice, and it turns out he's actually HP Flying from that damage, not HP Ice, and he sacks his Giratina off to the Stealth Rocks. And this is where I realise I've made a massive misplay. He actually gets his Gyarados in, so this is a threat. So I just throw off a Toxic and hope, in the hope that I can stall this down. If he'd subbed up, I think I would have lost to the sub DD set, but here and I just try and chip it down. That was a misplay. I should have wished there and I would have been able to stall it out a little bit more. So luckily enough he doesn't read my Protect and goes for a DD and just tries to waterfall me, and I know that, like, I tried to double Protect and we just sack our Licky off, but it puts his Gyarados to 5%, and I get to bring my Heracross off and just close combat here. And I could have played around this for differential, but I end up just clicking close combat with my Heracross against this, and it turns out he was only speed creeping Tapu Koko. He didn't speed creep a Scarf Heracross with his Thunderous, so we get to pick up a nice 4-0 victory for our first week. I feel a bit sorry for Tom because this is his first league battle and he did get cucked a bit by hacks, but there was hacks on both sides. I don't think it affected the outcome too much. Still think we were in a really good chance, as you can see, that the minute he went down, Heracross basically was primed to sweep anyway. So that was our week 1. Thanks for watching, catch you guys later.